One Zambia, one nation. You are watching Zanis News. To present, my name is Henry Himonde. The headlines. Vice President launches Lusaka cleaning and drainage clearing campaign. Chinese government puts up mechanized water scheme in Kapirimposhi. Dundumwezi district cut off following heavy downpour. And civil servants challenged to outline government projects to the public. The news in detail. Vice President Mtale Nalumango has launched the Lusaka cleaning and drainage clearing campaign with a call for concerted effort in keeping the city clean. Mrs. Nalumango, accompanied by cabinet ministers, also called for individual mindset change towards the promotion of cleanliness in workplaces and homesteads. Evelyn Masialeti witnessed the cleaning exercise and now reports.
Of late, there have been growing concerns about the status of the central business district in Lusaka with regards to cleanliness and low standards of hygiene. This has prompted government to launch the Lusaka cleaning and drainage clearing campaign in an effort to improve the hygiene standards in the city. Vice President Mtale Nalumango led cabinet ministers, senior government officials, and other stakeholders to kickstart the exercise.
If you can eat a banana and just throw, you buy a cup of maize and you just throw, you are a contributor. So I'm speaking to every Zambian. You are a motorist. Have you ever thrown something through the window? You are a contributor to the situation, the status that we find ourselves in. The vendor is a contributor, a major contributor, a marketeer. So basically, all of us as Zambians can do something about it. And this is why I'm here, because I'm a Zambian. The government is government for the people. And if our people can be left to live in this dirty environment, sooner than later, even our homes will be dirty.
Lusaka Province Minister Shio Mulyada has assured the Vice President that her call to keep the city clean will be actualized.
From here, we want to achieve change mindset for our people so that they can also know how to deal with garbage, because it's just thrown anyhow. So it's the mindset. So Lusaka Province, we're going to be on top of these issues. We want to work with you.
Meanwhile, stakeholders who took part in the cleaning exercise shared their concerns.
The pronouncement of the president, he said, my people can't move out of the streets. So now, basically on that one, what we can do, the solution is we can zone these people. We zone them, maybe 15. There must be a leader there who supervise these guys. When they do their selling, they make sure that they sweep their garbage, put it where it's supposed to be.
Government continues to implore the citizens on the mindset change if the city is to remain clean. Evelyn Masialeti, Zanis, Lusaka.
Mbala District Commissioner Annie Paul has called on Mbala residents to maintain high levels of hygiene to prevent outbreak of diarrheal diseases. Mrs. Paul says residents need to keep their environment clean, especially public places like markets. She observed that markets in Mbala are generally very dirty and need to be kept clean. The district commissioner has since applauded government workers in the district for turning up in numbers to conduct a cleaning exercise. Mrs. Paul said the cleaning exercise, which is conducted every last Friday of every month, is slowly becoming an integral part in promotion of cleanliness.
We've actually noticed that our markets were very dirty, and hearing from what the Minister of Health said about the outbreak of cholera, we said there was need to protect our district, and this is why everyone from the government department, including our officers from the Ministry of Defense, we are all here to make sure that we clean the markets we make the environment conducive for our residents.
As you know, as you are aware that every last Friday of the month is observed as Keep Zambia Green campaign. So as a responsible defense force and other security wings, of course, we thought we should be part of this exercise. It is a well-known fact that a healthy community, or indeed a healthy nation, is a productive nation, and it starts with exercises such as these. So that's why we thought it wise that we should be part of the Keep Zambia Green campaign.
Vice President Mtalena Lumango has assured the nation that government is committed to see a drop in the artificial high mealie meal prices in the country. Mrs. Nalumango says government is working with various stakeholders, including the Millers Association of Zambia, to ensure that the country records stability in mealie meal prices. Mrs. Nalumango notes that the country has never run out of maize and wondered why mealie meal prices should continue to rise despite having sufficient maize grain. Mrs. Nalumango says those dealing in mealie meal were not being sincere and patriotic to the country due to their appetite to make profits at the expense of poor citizens. The Vice President has further challenged the Millers Association of Zambia to ensure that they deal with millers and other mealie meal suppliers selling mealie meal at a high price than expected. She also announced that government will offload more maize to millers in the coming days. Meanwhile, Nakonde Milling Company Limited in Muchinga Province says the company has already received cheaper maize grain from the Food Reserve Agency.
The issue of mealie meal is being resolved seriously. We have never run out of maize. So one wonders what is happening. Maybe we need a more serious conversation with millers. You are a miller drawing maize from FRA. Why is your mealie meal expensive? Is it your outlets? Colleagues who are doing business in our country, particularly in mealie meal, don't make your profits too much high. Don't make your profits too high. Don't make the prices, make profit beyond people. You are doing business because of the people. Be patriotic for once. Be nationalistic for once. You can't buy mealie meal cheaply and then you want a profit of 50. There is no need for anybody, for example in Lusaka, to sell your maize even at 200 kwacha.
In Central Province, the Chinese government has constructed a mechanized water scheme in Kawama compound in Kapirimposhi district at a cost of 60,000 United States dollars to provide access to safe and clean water for residents in the area. The water scheme will provide a service to the clinic, market, and other public facilities in the area. More in the following report.
Residents of Kawama Township in Kapirimposhi district have to contend with water and sanitation challenges daily, as the area is not yet connected to the piped water network. To ease access to safe and clean water, the Chinese government, through the Office of the Area Member of Parliament, has constructed a mechanized water scheme in the area.
This water project can not only serve as a source of water, but can also be another source of friendship between China and Zambia. The project is a gift from the Chinese government. It's not a big project, but can mean a lot.
More water schemes are earmarked to be constructed in the area through the Constituency Development Fund.
Ichimwamono cho tuwashitana n'abaneso aba ku China chakubalira pofye muri CDF na tutakali approve kututu ino twaso tunatumbi tubiri pali uto tubiri kuli infactory tutatu kamona akapwakale pa space kuru tefyo paskuru pa yuto parliament no kuli wa community ifitule chuchu tikefya menshi fyala point to ala womberapo.
Kawama Clinic and the market are among public facilities to benefit from the water scheme.
We have a hand dug well at the clinic, but it was not giving that water which is required, because we need water for washing. Then we also need water for patients when they take their first dose of drugs. They need water to use, and then even for general cleanliness at the center.
Carlos Bunda, Zanis, Kaprimposhi.
Also in the news, residents in Mongu district in Western Province have called on the local authority to quickly unblock drainages that are becoming a health risk for locals. This is in the wake of continued rainfall that has created floods in the central business district. Rogers Piabipa brings us more in the following report.
Residents in Mongu district of Western Province have called on local government authority to unblock drainages in central business district. Speaking after Mongu Town Mayor Nyambe Muyumbana inspected the area, residents complained that drainage blockages are causing floods in township residential areas.
So kutoka kambe mawabulea bakwache kwate basiere ntenya mwainelera kafela meza kukuluka mo ayanga fela straight moment waluna luna lwiziva moment kikuyuba kachenu mezi nelse mwandu bonero kuyuba.
However, Mongu Town Mayor Nyambe Muyumbana said the flood situation is regrettable and called for urgent action.
Okay, so this has just come to our attention that some business people have blocked the drainage in their site, and so the water is not passing. And when it rains, there's a serious spillage of water from the drainage. So we'll ask our engineering department to come and block that drainage so that water can pass. So by next week, I can assure you, colleagues, that you see our engineering department unblocking that drainage so that water can pass.
Rogers Fepa reporting for Zanis in Mongu district of Western Province.
Malambo Member of Parliament Peter Piri says government is aware of the floods that have badly hit many parts of Mambwe district in Eastern Province. Mr. Piri says he has informed the Provincial Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit Coordinator, who has promised that the affected households will be supplied with tents for refuge before providing a lasting solution. The Malambo constituency lawmaker adds that the affected households will also be helped under the disaster component of the Constituency Development Fund. Mr. Piri, who is also Eastern Province Minister, attributed the flooding that affects Mambwe district yearly to lack of permanent structures that shield the banks of the river. He further called on the affected flood victims to remain calm as help will be rendered to them in the shortest possible time. 5 wards, namely Mukanya, Mcheka, Chipako, Msoro, and Malama in Malambo constituency have been hit by flash floods.
Mambwe has been badly hit by the flash floods, especially in the 2 or 3 wards which are hit. Mukanya ward has been hit, Chipako and Ncheka also, they are badly hit. So what we have done, we have liaised with the DMMU coordinator at provincial level. We spoke to him, and those that have lost houses, we are going to give them some tents where they can find refuge as they await for a lasting solution. And through the component that we have put in the CDF, using that component to assist in some way, we just advise our people to remain calm. We are coming to their aid.
Meanwhile, in Lusangazi district, close to 500 families have been displaced in the valley area of Chief Sandwe's area after their houses were submerged in water. The 500 families are on the verge of losing all their crops, which are now underwater following flash floods experienced in the area. Chief Sandwe says the flooding in the chiefdom has not only displaced people, but is also threatening food shortage and income because both food and cash crops have been submerged. And Lusangazi District Commissioner Mike Tembo says government will deliver relief food and tents for temporary shelter to the affected families. Mr. Tembo reiterated that people in the valley area should consider moving to upper land to avoid such calamities. In a related development, Dundumwezi constituency has been cut off from the rest of Kalomo district following flooding at Ngoma Bridge, the main crossing point at the Kalomo River along the Karomo-Dundumwezi Road. Southern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Malunga, who went to the scene with a team of engineers from the Road Development Agency, says government will work with the local authorities in the district to find an urgent solution. Runia Sakala has details in the following report.
Flash floods experienced in different parts of the country have continued to leave a trail of destruction, especially on road infrastructure. In Kalomo district, Ngoma Bridge along the Kalomo-Dundumwezi Road has been submerged, cutting off Dundumwezi constituency from the rest of the district. This situation is hindering access to various services such as education and health for the local people. Some have been here for 2 days now, waiting for the water to subside.
A good number of health centers along these roads. Yeah, we've got Nakarombe, we've got Bilili Clinic, which normally does a lot of referral just using this same bridge. And now, suppose the situation is like the vehicle was carrying a sick person. So with these issues of non-availability of crossing, these are challenges. We can only have access to cross here and go to Dundumwezi, and also the same route goes to Kandazov. There is no other alternative route that can be used.
Southern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Malunga, accompanied by engineers from the Road Development Agency RDA, have visited the site.
We've come here just to assess, and then as we get back, I'm sure our engineer will be able to make a decision on what needs to be done immediately to safeguard our people's lives here. So I think BDC will give you a feedback as soon as we get back to the office, and then so that we see if we can have a temporal way of just having access for our people here from Kalomo to Iteshteji.
That was the essence of our coming, to come and see what is happening on the ground, so that we could make recommendations for what can be done in the immediate and also in the long term, so that we can restore the flow of traffic.
This is not all, as Nalubumba Bridge along the Kalomo-Mapatizia Road has also developed a sinkhole, but RDA has plans to rehabilitate the structure.
Of course, we'll have to seek authority from our head office to try and see if we can just reallocate the available funds that we have with us at the regional office, so that we can attend to this issue as quickly as possible.
Runia Sakala, Zanis, in Kalomo District, Southern Province.
Runia Sakala there with that report. Now, World Vision Zambia has donated about 32,000 supplementary course books to the Ministry of Education in Namwala District. World Vision Zambia Programs Manager for Mbeza Muchila area, Michael Chiombo, says the donation is meant to improve reading levels among young children in schools.
Improving literacy levels among learners in primary schools through an initiative reading program is one of the key priority areas the Ministry of Education has set, and stakeholders in the education sector are keen to support this initiative. World Vision Zambia, implementing a program called Zambia Reading for Education and Development, has donated over 2,000 supplementary and course books to schools in Namwala District.
These books will contribute towards Namwala being the best school in Southern and the whole country. In total, there are 32,108, and they were produced at a cost of 651,000. World Vision, our goal, we want to ensure that the children's well-being is sustained.
The development has elected education authorities at both provincial and district level.
To thank you, World Vision, for this gesture. so much. The vision of our province, which squarely World Division is buying into. The vision of the province is to see that children are breaking through in education, that children are able to realize their dream.
I'm very delighted that you are here in Mbala district and Mangwele Primary School in particular to receive materials that have been produced by World Vision.
For Zanis, Amwainda Piri reporting in Mbala district of Southern Province.
Government says investing in early childhood development programs secures the future for children. Eastern Province Minister Peter Piri says early child development programs contribute immensely to the physical, cognitive, emotional, and social development of children. Take a look at this report.
UNICEF has handed over 4 community-based integrated early childhood development hubs, locally called Mpalas, in Chipata district. Eastern Province Minister Peter Perry has handed over the early childhood development centers at a ceremony held in Chipata today.
It is with great honor and joy that we are all gathered here today to witness the launch and handover of 4 Mbala early childhood development centers, which are very important in the development of our children and future generation. The Mpalas, or community-based integrated ECD hubs, have been constructed in 2 chiefdoms of Paramount Chief Mbezeni and Chief Maguya respectively, and these are namely Mkwabe, where we are today, Katamukwa, Msingo, and Nyambano. Your Royal Highnesses, ladies and gentlemen, the significance of the Mbala project that has been implemented in Chipata district from May 2021 to October 2022 with financial support from UNICEF and implemented by Plan International cannot be overemphasized, as Zambia is committed to the global agenda of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals number 3 and 4 that focus on good health, well-being, and provision of quality education respectively. What this entails is that children should have access to early learning and other collaborative services within reach in the community. Early childhood development spans the period from conception through to 8 years and involves participation of sectors such as early learning and education, nutrition, water sanitation and hygiene, wash, healthy, social protection, and community initiatives.
United Nations Children's Fund Deputy Country Representative for Operations Benjamin Mayer commended government for its commitment in scaling up the implementation of the Early Childhood Development Program.
This program is currently operating in Chipata, Katete, Petaoke, and Chongwe. In this district, the Mbala is a place in the community where children and caregivers receive services that enable children to reach their full development potential. The initiative responds to the latest scientific evidence that identifies the conditions required for optimal childhood development during the early years, which represents the opportunity of a lifetime.
Paramount Chief Mpezeni commended the partnership between government, UNICEF, and Plan International Zambia to promote the ECD program in Chipata district. Sylvester Chimba for Zanis in Chipata district.
Permanent Secretary for Special Duties at Cabinet Office Patrick Mcheleka has urged civil servants in Lusaka district to explain government developmental policies and programs to the public. Mr. Mcheleka advised civil servants to take their work seriously and ensure that government programs are clearly stated and communicated to the masses, not only in Muchinga province but also countrywide. And Isoka District Commissioner Collins Sichivula highlighted the challenges that government departments face in their quest to monitor various projects in their localities. The Permanent Secretary is on a tour of Muchinga province.
To bear this in mind and therefore take your work seriously. You need to know what is going on. How are you going to intervene? How are you going to change? How are you going to make a difference? As I speak to you, I want to tell you that as the new Dawn government, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, towards the end of last year, I think around September, was able to launch the 8th National Development Plan.
Currently, only 2 departments have reliable transport. Agriculture, the department has only 1 reliable vehicle, which is also not adequate. Education has 1 reliable vehicle. Health also has a serious challenge with transport. The rest of the departments have no transport, namely fisheries and livestock, Zanis, and other departments. Staffing levels, despite the recent recruitment in the education and health sectors, there is still a shortage in human resource in most of the departments, especially field staff in departments such as agriculture and livestock.
And finally, on the news, Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Kenneth Kalunga has commended the Free Press Initiative and the BBC Media Action for investing in the training of 8 female journalists in investigative journalism skills under the Motto project. Mr. Kalunga says government has an open door policy and is ready to support such initiatives that bring out brilliant skills to help grow the country. Miles Kabengo gives us a report.
After 9 months of intensive training, 8 female Zambian journalists from different media houses have been empowered with investigative journalism skills under the Motto project. The Motto project, which was launched in 2022, is being supported by Free Press Initiative and the BBC Media Action, aims at empowering female journalists with investigative skills to uncover topical issues affecting Zambians countrywide.
These girls now are able to do a lot of stories that are bringing out serious issues in their communities, which are benefiting not only the communities but also even the policymakers who are being informed of the many things that are going on that may require even change and some action to ensure that something is done out of the many issues that are being brought out.
I think it is important that as we begin to appreciate the unlocking of the environment for the stories to be told, and also for initiatives such as this one by FPI and BBC Media Action to see females being brought to the fore to tell the stories in their own local way, in their own narratives, in their own language, I think it becomes a better platform for everyone to appreciate.
Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Kenneth Kalunga graced the event.
The FPI and the BBC Media Action for the initiative, especially that it seeks to empower the female broadcaster, journalist with skills relevant to the profession. We further call other media organizations and tertiary institutions offering journalism courses to include investigative reporting, as it is the future of journalism.
British High Commissioner to Zambia praised the Zambian government for creating a safe and conducive environment for the press.
We've seen steps that they've been taken, including the
abolition at the end of 2022 of the criminal defamation of the president law, and that's a hugely significant moment as it really signals the government's commitment to continuing to roll forward with its reforms of this sector and more broadly to ensure that the core of respect of human rights, of accountability, of good governance is right at the centre of Zambia's society.
Kalunga Sachiuka, one of the motor superstars, following a training in investigative journalism, pledged to utilize the skills she has acquired to advance the socio-economic development of the country.
This project has re-energized us to continue telling stories in our communities. If it was within our powers, we would have loved to continue on. But we are happy that our exit creates room for other team of journalists to also have an opportunity to acquire these skills. But we don't want to lose this mood that has been created. A network of our team of female journalists under the Motor Project has been created.
Maize Kabingo for Zanis News in Lusaka.
Maize Kawengo's report brings us to the end of Zanis News, but before we go, let's take another look at the headlines. Vice President Mtalena Lumango has launched the cleaning and drainage clearing campaign in Lusaka. The Chinese government has put up a mechanized water scheme in Kapirimposhi. Dundumwezi has been cut off from the rest of Kalomo district after heavy rains. And civil servants have been challenged to outline government projects to the public. Thank you so much for watching Zanis News. On behalf of the entire news production crew, my name is Henry Himonde. Remember to join us tomorrow again at the same time. For now, it's goodbye.